I know I'm a bit late to the party, but the Apple TV Plus original, Ted Lasso, just finished up its second season. Now, I am in love with this show, and I wanted to share why. An American football coach heads to the UK to manage a struggling London football team in the top flight of English football. So this stars Jason Sudeikis in the title role, and while I'm not the biggest fan of his, he kills it in this role, and he crafts a character who I instantly fell in love with. Ted Lasso is a super positive person, which then transfers into his coaching style. I mean, he is less about getting winning players as he is about instilling confidence and worth in those players. And it sounds like it would be kind of schmaltzy, but the character comes across as genuine and sincere. There's no hint of sarcasm to his uplifting words, just only pure concern for those around him. And this is even illustrated in the opening credits for the show. Ted is shown to sit down in a stadium with all of these blue seats. Now, some seats are covered in graffiti, but as soon as Ted sits, the chair turns red, and then the red color spreads to the other seats, and those red seats become clean and untarnished, just like the effect that Ted tries to have on everybody that he comes in contact with. Now, you don't need to know about sports to enjoy this. Football is just the background for everything that goes on. Now, sure, some portions of the series do give prominence to the sport, but it fits well within the entire narrative, and it's even okay if we don't get all of the sports references, because Ted Lasso knows nothing about soccer, so that makes him even more relatable to us non-sports people. I love the effect that Ted has on those around him, and not just the players. He causes just about everybody to be better, however better may look. Now, while the first season is wildly positive and upbeat, the second season takes on some more dramatic tones, and it introduces more conflict amongst the cast. Sometimes the drama is really good as it spurs on some really great character growth. We watch Roy, a former player, examine his life and goals and how he has to determine what he's going to do with his influence. We see Rebecca, the owner of the team, take strides in a relationship that genuinely can make her happy. And Keely, the PR manager for the team, gains even more confidence than she had, leading her towards a path of success. Coach Beard, who is the assistant coach and Ted's best friend, begins to take control of his own relationship. And he also continues to give subtle guidance and positive feedback to Ted in a way that is patient and understated, but it's also terribly effective. Now, one character that I really loved in the first season, but didn't necessarily enjoy his character arc for the second, is Nathan. And the drama and actions we see from him make sense for the story that they're setting up. And I'd even argue that they're necessary to infuse some good relational conflict, but that doesn't mean it makes me happy. We can see through the whole second season how something is brewing, and we know that there will come a boiling point, but I kept hoping that it wouldn't reach the point that it felt like it was headed towards. While the first season sits pretty squarely in the comedy genre, I think the second season moves more towards being a dramedy. Now, there's still drama and some conflict in the first season, but the second just embraces more of the melancholy that forces our characters to grow, along with creating some very engaging stories. I love that the second season is a longer one, too. There are 12 episodes that allow us to really engage with the characters. For several of them, an episode will focus on one character, diving more into their story, all the while building out a stronger overall narrative. I like that the episodes vary in length, but most of them do hover in the 40-ish minute range. Now, sometimes it's hard with a large ensemble cast to make us feel a connection with the majority of the players, but somehow this manages to give concentrated focus to about 11 of the characters. And that's quite a few, and the show does it effectively. And then the rest of the background characters complement the storytelling. Now, for me, it would be very hard to pick one or two favorite characters because each of them has different quirks and qualities that are very endearing to me. Ted is going to be my first favorite, but after that, I can pinpoint characteristics of so many that resonate with me, or they even make me connect with the character. And I don't even have to be in love with that character. They evoke strong emotions, which are generally very positive. Now, it's almost like Ted is rubbing off on me, allowing me to see the best in a character, even if they're being a wanker at times. The pacing in this show works well, too. Some episodes feel faster, while some feel like they've slowed down, but never did I feel that the story was rushed or that one outstayed its welcome. There's a dynamic story arc in each episode which allows them to each stand on their own, all the while building the larger story and taking us on an emotional ride. Now, because I didn't watch season 1 when it came out, I had the good fortune to binge all through the first season and then continue right into the second. But that was short-lived because I quickly caught up to where the show was, and then I had to wait each week for the next episode. As an illustration of how good and engaging this show actually is, I binged all 10 episodes of season 1, and I think it was like 7 episodes of season 2 over 2 days. I mean, my wife and I literally couldn't get enough of what we were watching. First, it was the uplifting positivity that exuded from Ted, and then it was the great cast of characters that just kept us coming back for more. The drama in the second season is intriguing, but it's never so dark or depressing that it feels like a massive tonal shift from what had been established previously. I love that the show, like any great dramedy, can make me laugh out loud and bring me to tears in the same episode. I mean, it tugs at my heartstrings with deep emotion while frustrating me with character decisions. I found myself talking at the TV more than a handful of times because the character on the screen was doing something counter to what I knew they should do. There are more than a few cliffhanger moments within the episodes that also help to keep me binging. The season finale for season 2 didn't necessarily create cliffhangers, but there are a couple of storylines that certainly need resolution. And while I have enjoyed the darker tone this second season took on, I do hope that the third outing is going to bring us back to a slightly brighter mood. But that being said, I don't want to lose the dramatic tension that is being built either. While there are so many different facets to this show that resonate with me, the one that stands out most is how great of a guy Ted Lasso is. I mean, he's not perfect, and he certainly has flaws, but the character is one of caring and concern, and I think that's really needed for today. We need some bright spots to let us know that decency still exists, even amongst difficulty, and that the actions and attitudes can be contagious, so we need to use whatever influence we have to lift others up. So overall, Ted Lasso is an amusing and even hilarious look at a soccer coach in a fish-out-of-water scenario. The character exudes charm and brings positivity to just about every situation. And while the second season is darker in tone and slightly less happy than the previous season, the story arc is maturing along with the characters to create an ensemble dramedy worthy of a binge session. There is sex, nudity, profanity, and some violence. I give season 1 of Ted Lasso 5 out of 5 couches, and season 2 4.5 out of 5 couches. Have you binged this show? If not, I really highly encourage it. But if you have seen the show, can you pick a favorite? I mean, if you can, let me know who it is and why in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.